All right. Looks like everybody's online. All the softwares are playing nicely today. I think we've got everything figured out here. So let's get into it. It's going to be a fun day. I know it's been a couple of extra days since we have talked about the last part of our brand building workshop. Today, we're actually going to be covering two parts, so it'll be a little bit longer. Stay tuned, sit tight, and keep your questions at the ready. Of course, I'm always available via Twitter and email. Feel free to contact me those ways too. All right, guys. So let's talk about the next two steps of the brand building process. Now, remember, you can get a copy of the 10 steps to create an awe-inspiring brand workbook absolutely free by going and subscribing to my newsletter. If you are already on my newsletter and you didn't get it, or you've lost the email for whatever reason, shoot me a DM. I'll send you the link nice and easy. All right, guys. So today is actually, we have crossed over the 50% mark. We will be pushing ourselves all the way up to what is about the 70% mark, since there's 10 steps. Like I mentioned, we will be following along in this workbook. You do have all the room that you need for the best experience. Use Canva. I do encourage you to use Canva because you can add more space, remove space, move things around, and make it work for you. Remember, it's just a template. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and talk about your competition. So today we're analyzing the market, we're analyzing the competitors, and then we're going to create a promotion plan for where our competitors are falling short and push ourselves and our product and our brand further, faster. That's the whole point of this entire series, is to get a real hitting jump start to where you could go to a VC and say, I've got this. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. Are you in or are you out? It puts you in a really nice negotiating position to know what you are, what you're going to do, long-term, short-term, how you're going to position it, and also what now, of course, how are you going to be promoting? What is your guide, or what is the end goal here? So today we're going to talk about analyzing our competition. We're going to talk about the different types of competitors, find out who they are. I'll give you an example with two well-known brands here, and we'll go over all of that in just a little bit. But then we are going to take a quick glance and figure out how to reverse engineer somebody else's marketing strategy so that you can inform your own. I'll be showing you some free tools, and now that I've got screen sharing down on this little software, you'll actually be able to see what I'm doing on the screen instead of just being able to hear me explain through the topic. All right, and then to wrap this whole live up, we're going to be creating an example promotional plan for the for one of the companies based on the second company, and how are we going to have a fresh example for a real life company. All right, so let's jump into it. Thank you guys for coming back to my channel. By the way, it's always great to have you guys here. So I want to talk about first the three different types of competitors. So I put together this nice little chart here. If you would like a copy, remember that you can send me an email and get a free white label license for all of these, and I'll send you copies for all of these to be put into your branding and use them for your own business or for your clients as you need. All right, so three different types of competitors. There's direct, indirect, and replacement competitors. So pretty simple. Direct competitors, they offer the same thing, they solve the same thing that you solve. This is like a good example would be McDonald's versus Burger King. Same offer, hamburgers, fries, chicken nuggets, and they offer this, or they solve the same pain. You're hungry, whatever. Now, that's the that's the easiest type of competitor. There's usually the first person that comes to mind when I say the word competitor. So keep in mind that you should be writing down your competitors on your workbook because you'll be meeting them later. And it's If you're short memory like me, sometimes we forget things. All right, so indirect competitors is the next type. So different offer, satisfying the same needs. So back to our fast food example here. We've got McDonald's and Del Taco. How about? So both of those are, of course, they both solve the same thing, but they offer two different cuisines. You know, burgers and fries versus Mexican, I guess. So now replacement competitors are the third type of competitors. Usually the ones that are a little harder to figure out at first. Of course, you know, with practice, you know, you get better. But they take a different method, but the same pains are solved. So a better example of this one is actually one that I was doing or read when I was doing this research here, was through or to compare Coca-Cola versus mineral water. And I don't know who drinks mineral water. I think that stuff is disgusting, but that's just me. So anyway, the two of those they satisfy the same need, quench your thirst, but they follow a different method to do it. A different, you know, one's water, one's something. All right, so those are the three different kinds of competitors. Now, it is semi-easy to figure out your competitors. Now, we're going to take a quick look at one well-known brand. I'm sure all of you have heard of the brand Gucci, and I'm going to pop up their About screen here if you are unfamiliar. But basically, this is a fashion brand, a 21st century fashion brand, in a nutshell, in a boil down. So let's talk about Gucci. So Gucci has tons of competitors, obviously. So let's run through it. So in Gucci's direct competitor, same offer, same pain solved. That would probably be Prada. Now, I will pull up the thing a little bit later. Some of you might see at the top that it says Prada on my fourth tab there, and I'll show you why a little later. But Prada is one of Gucci's direct competitors. They both offer the same luxury stuff, and they solve the same pains, which underneath all of it is image problems. So indirect offer, or sorry, the indirect, sorry, I read off this thing here. Indirect competitor of Gucci would be something along the lines of Sephora, a makeup company. So you're still doing something about your appearance, boosting your self-confidence, whatever that may look like, but it's going about it a different route. We're using makeup instead of fashion accessories and fashion wear. Now, the third different kind, replacement competitors. So hold on, I'm very sorry. I messed that up. So Sephora is a replacement competitor. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. Indirect competitor, segue on back to that. So Sephora is a replacement competitor. An indirect competitor, would be something along the lines of Target, basically. So different offer, but it still satisfies the same need. Clothing to make you, improve your appearance, but it's not a fashion or a luxury brand or designer wear, as we call it. All right, so just real quick, a couple of different examples for the different types of competitors. Now, of course, I can do things like direct competitors, Chase and Wells Fargo, Apple, Samsung, McDonald's, Burger King, the ones that you are able to come up with pretty quickly. Now, as I mentioned, replacement ones are the hardest one to get, especially when you mix them up like I just did. But over time, you'll be able to figure out replacement offers. And that's actually where your best positioning and your best offers and your best experimentation is going to come from. It's actually going to work in the reverse. So we'll talk about that in just a little minute when we take a look at this chart here. So go ahead and think about all of your competitors. And I hope I gave you guys a couple of minutes with that explanation to start coming up with your guys' competitors. But what we really want to take a look at with all of this, now, of course, all of these are important. And when you're going to go back through your brand workbook, you will see on page, hold on. I think it's in this page. No, it's not this page. All right, hold on. It's on one of these dang pages. There's a lot of pages, by the way, in case you haven't seen this entire thing. All right, here we go, right here. It is there. So this is another way that we're going to be going about this. So competitors are just one small part of course, the overall market analysis. So when we're pulling up all of this, and these are my examples, obviously. So what competitors will make your business less effective or obsolete? So, I mean, you can walk through all of these and, of course, get this or, take a screenshot of this if you don't want to download it and give me your email. I'm very sad, by the way. I'm very offended by that. And you can work through this. I gave you guys your own little space. Once again, Canva, if you want to make this, work nicely for you or, print it out like I would. All right, so now this is the part where we want to start comparing our competitors to ourselves. This is where our positioning starts to come in. This is where we become unique in the market. We solve something uniquely the same way. So this is the concept from that book that I mentioned last week on my blog. Once again, you should definitely check out my blog. There's a lot of good stuff on there that I don't cover in videos. So if you want all of my content, you should definitely go there first. Anyways, so we want to compare, we want to have a unique approach to solving a problem in the market. So if I am bringing financial literacy or financial wellness or preparedness for retirement, all of those can be solved with a 401k, a life insurance policy. There's multiple different ways to do that. And in that, you want to create your offer by putting all of those things together, and you can pitch it this many ways. And I encourage everybody to take a look at that book. I'm boiling it down to a way that is so that doesn't really do it justice. I should probably do an entire video on that, and I probably will at some point, but my to-do list is this long. Good luck. So let's talk about your competitors in comparison to you. So we have a list of your values from earlier. So scroll back all the way up to your whatever page and pull out your list of brand values. So we're going to compare how your competitors stack up through the lens of your brand values. So let me pull up a copy of mine so that I can reference things across there for you. Please hold. It's one thing I did not have open. So anyway, while you guys pull up your fun little values, if you do have an odd number, just keep doing this exercise until you have used every one, and it's okay to repeat them in the case of an odd number of values. So while this thing is loading up, it is a massive document, so it's going to take a second. Pulling out your list of competitors, your list of values now, we're going to take two, put them on the XY axis, and we're going to actually rate our competitors. How do they stand up compared to us on this scale or from this POV? So here we go. I did one for our brand that was for customizability and capability / competency. We were using an interchangeable word, and to this day still do. So anyway, let's talk about this from a smaller side here. Let me make this a little smaller so I can read all my notes here. So we have a list of a plethora of competitors. So we have AutoGrow. So that's a digital marketing agency. Thrive Agency, that's a local agency. Real Unlimited, that's an online SaaS style company copywriting agency. Ranked, that is the SEO. Neil Patel, and that's one thing I always joke about. You think you have bad competitors? Look at who one of mine is. Indirect competitors. Now, of course, these are a couple of local companies that still, they've got the same idea or the same approach, I'm just going to move on here. MojoGlobal.com. I used to work with them. Dean Consulting LLC, The Hoth, Boostability, replacement competitors, Ply, Publicized, Jasper. These are all replacement competitor or a list of competitors that are being compared on this thing here. So if we actually, and mine doesn't actually look as pretty as this because this workbook did not exist at the time when we were making our brand sheet. So ours does not look as pretty, but I will share it in a little bit. So let's, you know what? Let's just share it now. Let's not play that game. How do I switch my screen share? There we go. That's going to do something crazy, isn't it? Banging. All right, cool. So there it is. Zoom this in a bit more. All right, so obviously this is a lot less pretty than the one that's on the worksheet, but the whole point is the information is still here. So when I'm plotting people on this, when we're plotting our competitors on it from this point of view, this was our most compelling. That's where we're going to go with this. So we're going to do all of them, figure out which one works the best, has the biggest audience and the biggest potential for growth, and the lowest barriers to entry, which is, of course, why the Porter's 5 Forces is there. Use it, follow those instructions. Check out the article if you need help running it. You can get in touch with me. You know how to do it. Anyway, this is the one that we're using, fully custom, high capability and competency, as I mentioned. So on this, imagine this is a XY plane. So this would be kind of middle of the road down through here, and then the extremes in the 4 quadrants. So we can look at this. Take a look at us. We're in pink, obviously, because we're always in pink. So we do have 2 different versions of branding. Now, this is a next step that we're not even going to cover in this series. It's way too nitty gritty. There's too many steps involved to it. That is for specific services branding. Now, when you're making a specific services branding inside of a larger brand, especially with one like ours, which we're a co-op, of course, we have a little more extra steps to do. So we won't cover that, but just know that there are more steps to why there's 2 places where we're on this gap. Now, our company right here can, as a whole, we are at the top, excel in high customizability and high competency, obviously, because we are a co-op. We can create things that are, they're flexible, that this one fires, that one doesn't, this one doesn't, but this one does later on. You can really mess around with it. And because we have more competency, because I'm not focusing on all of these things, I'm focusing on my stuff. These guys are focusing on where they excel at and around and around. So of course, that's where we throw over that way. Now, the last part where I just want to briefly touch where this goes low competency capability, because it's an individual service. So that's the one differentiation, one of the main differentiations between the 2 branding styles and the 2 branding approaches. All right, so I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen there, fix my screen share for you guys, and then we'll get back on track. Okay. All right. So let's go back to our friends over at Gucci. So now that we know who the competitors are and where they belong on our graph of comparison. Um, we have a, whoop, hold on, I'm back. There we go. So now we have the next step. Now that we've kind of identified gaps where, and you will see visual gaps, when you plot people on the XY graph, you will see, wait a minute, there's nobody in the middle of the road. There's nobody up in this corner. There's nobody over in this corner. And you're going to be able to use those later on when we're writing positioning statements, and that'll be soon. I don't remember exactly which video it's going to be in, because I'm going to bundle these last couple of steps up for a good reason. You will see why. All right, so anyway, back to our friends over here at Gucci. We want to now do a competitor promotion analysis. So we have our handy dandy little tool. This is called SimilarWeb. It is a freemium tool. You can use it for free for a couple of times. Now, of course, it is limited. It's limited data to how far back it goes, but you get a pretty stinking good idea of their marketing strategy, their promotion strategy, and I'll also show you guys how to do this manually in the occasions where SimilarWeb isn't for you. So SimilarWeb, now this is for a majority of my people here. They are, a little further along. Most of their competitors are getting a decent amount of traffic to their social pages and their websites. So SimilarWeb will display the information. In the event somebody does not have more than 5,000 page views per month to their website, SimilarWeb will not display any of their information, and it'll be a very skeleton, bare bones. So I will show you guys how to do a little bit of research, and I'm going to use a super easy example myself. So anyway, back to the matter at hand, Gucci versus Prada. So we know that Prada is Gucci's competitor. So I have pulled up Prada.com. Now, we're going to look at these two side by side by comparing them in just a minute, but I want to show you guys everything that you can see, and let me blow this up for my own sanity. There we go. All right, so we have a lot of information about them. We can see how many people visit the website, how many average pages, how long is somebody on the website on average, where do they rank globally in their country. I mean, you can really see a lot of interesting data from this. Now, where it starts to get more interesting is when we start to get down past this point, really. So, not that far, just a little further. There we go. So, we can actually analyze our competitors because of a little stipulation in Google Analytics that most people don't even think about and notice, being there, to anonymously contribute data. So this kind of information, now, of course, SimilarWeb pulls data a different way. That's a whole other conversation. But we can see all of the main sources of their traffic. Now, of course, United States, huge percentage of their traffic and sales. Now, we can also start to see other things. I mentioned before in a shorts video that we had the Affinity Scores. This is another way to back check Affinity Score data. Are they actually a similar page to you? How are they different? Anyway, you can kind of go off on your own down that train of thought. Anyway, we're gonna go down here, down here, down here, down here. Da, 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 a little further. Hold on. There we go. All right. So we have the marketing channels. This is this is the data we really want to see. So search, direct, very little social. That was surprising. So this is very small, but this is the digital marketing channels that result in a visit to Prada.com. So this is very, sorry, I just can't get over that. Anyway, um, this is where we're going to start to find, where are we going to be turning around and reverse engineering their marketing strategy. So now we see how they're getting their traffic. There is some other stuff here. You can see, of course, if you have the means to and are interested in the data, I fully encourage you to get the full version. I tested it out. Didn't end up having enough use cases for it beyond this. So anyway, this is some other keywords that you can do. How are people finding Prada? This is a good place where you can bid on AdWords. In this particular case, I wouldn't, but anyway, you can find our opportunities. All right, now this is another one. Where are people coming from? Where are, we can piece together the information. One reason why I do like SimilarWeb is they do have a way that you can kind of piece together the information. So these two right here are, of course, redacted for this for the upgraded version. But if we actually scroll down just a little bit, we can probably make an educated guess as to where Prada actually is pulling in most of their traffic from. One, it's got to be something here. It's more than likely one of these two guys, but we will find that out in a minute. This is the last part, technologies. Hey, come back. There we go. All right, so this is another place where we're going to take a look and see all of their data. This is what we like. I like this stuff. This is so much fun. Oh, no. Guess I'm not logged in. Wow, this just goes really slow when I don't want it to go slow, huh? All right, anyway, so let's take a look at this. So number one, it's a Facebook. I will bet you, you know what? If I knew how many people were dead set on going to be watching this video, I would put an actual number and bet you what it was, but no, I don't have time for that. Anyway, I'll bet you one of those two missing values, traffic refers, is Facebook. So I'll bet you it's probably this one right here, where YouTube would probably be one of the top ones. All right, guys. So that's how you can view your competitors. Now, once again, not all of your competitors are going to be in there. So now we're going to turn this around and look at this from Prada's side. So let's look at Gucci and let's find out their marketing strategy. So first of all, I want to just go to their website. So the best way, and these are massive companies, so they're everywhere. But let's take a look and see what kind of stuff are they doing. Let's see. So I see an unsubscribe. So okay. So FYI, if you look down in the bottom left-hand corner, you can actually see where it's going to go to. So this one is the newsletter unsubscribe. So that means that there's email marketing at play. All right, cool. We have one piece of information. Then we've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We've got a podcast. So we'll figure out where that podcast is from. Pinterest, Snapchat. So there's a pretty solid omnipotent presence for Gucci here. Now, of course, there are a couple little gaps, but those probably don't make sense for their business model, and I don't blame them. So anyway, let's take a look at some of these other ones. So people tend to fill out Facebook a lot more than any other platform. So we'll take a look at there. Okay, so the Gucci podcast is on Pandora, so that's good to know. Look at that. Good old Facebook. I haven't been on here in 4 hours. It's like a record time. I was getting ready for this. He's sleeping and barking in his sleep. Adorable. All right. Come on. All right. So now we can find information about them. So many of you guys don't know that this is even an option, which is psychotic. But let's take a look and scroll down to this here page transparency section. So, page transparency, who's responsible for the page, what ads have they run on this page, look, people who manage this page, uh, where are the administrative. This page is currently running ads, has run ads about social issues, elections, and politics. That's all just good to know, especially if you're targeting things in those industries or in those areas. All right, so now we can actually take a look and see what are they doing, what angle are they going for, and if it loads, that'd be great. All right, so we can actually take a look. Let's do one in English since I don't speak any other language yet. All right, so sleek leather accessories detailed with emblematic house codes are offered in unexpected color palettes for a vibrant minimalist feel. So this is, I mean, a pretty similar uh, route that I would go for a brand like this. That just a very simple language, cut it down, make it feel a little fancy, but using a very simple picture and image. Anyway, so you guys can explore the Facebook ad library on your own time, or I guess the Meta ad library now, whatever. Anyway, so we figured out some information. So we know they're running ads. We know that they are running email marketing, that they are using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, a podcast on Pandora, and I almost remembered all of them. Snapchat. That was the one I missed. Oh, and YouTube. YouTube and Snapchat. All right. So aside from those, I bet you. Okay, so we've got small things. We've got localized informations there. Book an appointment. So we have a person-to-person contact. Let's find out how is this chat. Okay, that's interesting. Live chats. All right, so the point of all of this conversation here is you can start to pick apart how your competitors are advertising just based on information that they've left, of course, to make promotions of themselves. Now, of course, if I go onto Google and search up Gucci, I'll find more information, and of course that's where you should be starting. But check websites, check landing pages, check their social media pages. Use open intelligence. If you actually know how to use open source intelligence, then figure it out. I'm sure there's some way to apply the data there. But anyway, this is how we have now arrived at the end of this. So let's create a marketing plan based on what these guys are doing. So if they are email marketing, running ads, have a pretty solid social media presence, where are the gaps in those? Where aren't they? Basically, where are they not? So in Gucci's case, they weren't promoting on LinkedIn. Now, in that case, I would agree. That's probably not the best place to promote all of that kind of product. I didn't see TikTok or use or specifications of any of the more advanced or smaller features inside Facebook, like groups or anything like that. But other than that, I do encourage you guys to take a look, give yourself a minute, come up with a couple of your awareness. Now, I did do a little cheating for you, and I was feeling nice, and I started making a list of all the different brand awareness efforts that I could come up with. I had a couple of people throw in some more input there. So we've got a really solid list of you or to start. Most of them are for B2B and B2C, but some of these can be turned around for B2E, B2G, and things like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the live today. If you do need help with your brand building worksheet, of course, get in touch with me. Do not feel shy about it. I am here for you. Other than that, have a great, great Monday, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.